So I thought I would read a little bit from my book, The Casebook of Esho St. Clair, Volume 1. This is the case of the Gibbering Mr. Cravat. Esho St. Clair, occult investigator and consulting detective, had plenty of time to make it to his appointment, but he wanted to be early. He stepped quickly across the bustling street, keeping an eye out for carriages. A few blocks of rapid walking brought him to an unmarked door off of an alley. He rapped 3 times in quick succession and followed that with 4 slower knocks. The woman that answered was small-boned with fine features, but nothing about her said she was fragile. A wicked smile outlined in crimson stood in stark contrast to porcelain skin and jet-black hair. Her dark blue dress fitted her closely, and though she was a good 20 years older than Esho, he still found her ravishing. "Good to see you again, Esho. Come in." He walked in and took off his bowler, nearly as dark as his ebony skin. "How are you today, Madame Francesca?" She took the hat and overcoat and hung them on pegs. "I'm fine, thank you. Are you here to see one of the girls?" She looked up at him and winked. He shook his head with a smile. "Not today. I have a client meeting me here this morning. I understand he frequents your establishment, and we agreed the discretion you're known for would serve us both well today." She nodded. "Of course." She led him down a hall, past doors that he knew led to sitting rooms, bedrooms, and other more specialized rooms. Some had a blue ribbon tied on the knob. Other knobs were bare. She took him to a door near the end of the hall. The knob was bare, and she opened it for him. "You wait here. I'll bring some coffee and brandy. Who's the visitor?" "He's known to you as Mr. Cravat." She smiled knowingly. "Not surprising. He's seemed troubled of late. Nothing the girls can do for him has taken away the edge. I hope you can help him." He stepped into the small room. 2 wing-back chairs faced a small fireplace. A recently stoked coal fire radiated soothing warmth. Small bookcases on either side of the hearth held books in a host of languages, some of them titillating and others more cerebral. He unbuttoned his jacket and took a seat. Sure that he would have a few moments, he reached into the jacket's inner pocket and pulled out his straight razor. The thief's razor's scales were made of whalebone, with a spouting beast carved on one side and a vicious shark on the other. Brass rivets held it together, and the blade was made from the finest Damascus steel. The whorls on the blade's surface helped him to meditate when that was what he needed. He left the blade closed and simply held it in his hand. It warmed to his touch, and he let the concentration flow out to the room around him. Privacy was necessary in a business like this, but that didn't mean the madam was above using mystical means to gather information when she wanted it. He didn't sense any magical ears in the room. He did sense a ghost or two. They could tell him what they might have seen, but were just as likely to spin a tale that had little to do with reality. Being dead was a dreadful bore, and they had all the time in the world to make things up. His blade could convince them to tell the truth, but there was no need for that at this point. He put the razor back in his jacket and waited. There was a light knock, and the door opened. A statuesque redhead, dressed in riding trousers and a man's shirt, came in bearing a small tray with the promised drinks. She poured him a cup of coffee and took the glass stopper from a brandy decanter. "Will there be anything else, sir?" Her voice was deep and rich. "No, thank you." He took the coffee and sipped it. "Very good." She nodded and backed out of the room. He returned to his waiting, going over what little information he had. Mr. Cravat was bothered by what he'd termed bad luck. When pressed for details, he only said that they would need to meet for Esho to understand. The door opened, and before Mr. Cravat fully entered the room, Esho smelled stagnant water and rot. His steps were a dragging thing, not the spry gait of a young man. Esho touched the pocket where his razor was. It could be used as a weapon, and there were advantages to it, but he didn't want to jump to any further conclusions. He could probably subdue any man or woman with his bare hands, unless they were much larger than he. He stood and faced the door. The figure that came through it was a wretch. Cravat's chest was unnaturally shallow, having a caved-in appearance. He was dressed in an ill-fitted fine suit. The sleeves were too short, and the trousers were buckled tightly due to a lack of apparent hips. His face was hidden in the shadow of a top hat and a swath of scarf. It was cold outside, but not that cold. The only features Esho could make out were the eyes. They shone like a cat's, but were blue instead of green. Knotted just below where a man's throat would have been was a bright red tie. "Mr. St. Clair?" The voice bubbled and rattled, but the words were clear enough. He nodded. "I am. You must be Mr. Cravat. Have a seat." He gestured towards the one next to him, though he had no wish to sit near this man, if man he was. The top hat seemed to pivot. "I shall stand. I'm on hard times. It hurts to do anything, but sitting or lying down is the worst. I am a cursed man, sir, and I beg you to take up my case." Esho stood, since his guest wouldn't sit. "I don't usually ask clients this, sir, but you're a special case. What brings you to see me? You're obviously a man of wealth. Your suit says so, and that you are known here means you have money in abundance. To hire someone like me, rather than going to one of the larger agencies, is odd." By way of answer, Mr. Cravat lifted gloved hands to his hat and removed it. The skin of his bald head was the green of lettuce gone rotten, with large blue splotches the color of robins' eggs. His eyes were pupilless, and where there should be a nose, there was little more than a bump on his face. The ears were just as vestigial. His skin had a sickly sheen, more oily than damp. A lesser man would have taken a step back. "I see." I hope this encourages you to check out the complete story, available as an ebook, print book, and audiobook in the usual places. Thanks for listening.